Welcome to Channel X TV, sponsored by Volo. I'm here today at Sitruna with Chris Thomas to talk about how you take a business and rapidly grow it on Amazon and some of the problems that you encountered with Beechmore Books. So, welcome, Chris. How are you?
Hi, I'm pretty good, thank you. Pretty tired. I've got a little youngster, but you know, we're getting there. So yeah.
So, take me back to the beginning with Beechmore Books.
Sure.
Yeah, how did the business come about, and what type of business was it? I think books gives it away.
Absolutely. So it was essentially notebooks. So kind of diaries, journals, things to get your thoughts down. It was a luxury product, so kind of high end, but one that I guess we sort of thought had a fairly wide appeal. The business really started, so myself and my kind of business partner, Stephen, is actually his business from, I guess, coming out of university really. And, it grew from a business that was sort of, a small business to very rapidly having, over 5,000 five-star reviews, bestseller in the category, and was actually, going really well.
So when you say 5,000 reviews and bestseller, we're talking on Amazon here.
Absolutely, yes.
So tell us about the Amazon growth. It topped in the category. You must have been shifting some volumes.
Absolutely, yeah. So we were doing a significant amount. We actually have now exited the business, and I think for context, that exit was a seven-figure one. So that's the kind of context around the volume, really.
So I know you had some problems with stockouts at Amazon.
Yeah.
What was the impact of that on sales? And I mean, how do you keep your top seller in the category if you've got stockouts? And why were you getting stockouts?
Well, the answer is with great difficulty in terms of keeping the bestseller category. And the impact on the business was actually the biggest single thing that was kind of holding us back, I think, and had the biggest impact. A couple of reasons. First of all was the fact that obviously if you don't sell stock, you can't make any money.
It's not good for a business.
Pretty obvious to say. But the second point is that on Amazon specifically, going out of stock just doesn't freeze you. It doesn't just put you to the point where you're standing still. Actually, because it's such a competitive marketplace, there's ranking, reviews, rating. You actually take a few backward steps because of the fact that you're not in stock. Amazon can't make any money from selling your product, so you go backwards. So it was hugely impactful. Sorry.
I've really got to ask the question.
Yeah.
If you're so successful, why aren't you just doing big orders? You order the stock and get it into Amazon. What was holding you back on the growth there?
Well, I guess the traditional model of a lot of Amazon sellers will be familiar with is ordering from China in volume and then shipping straight into Amazon. So straight into FBA.
This is by sea, so it's taking weeks, if not months.
Absolutely. Or by air, incredibly expensively, and ruins your profit margins. So you had to. So what we were finding was that we were having to plan very far in advance, get our orders in.
So this is 3, 4, 5 months down the road.
3, 4, 5 months. This was, and also a lot of things that could come up and put that timeline back. And what we were also finding is that Amazon growth, once it kicks in, kind of snowballs. So we were planning and forecasting based on our sales velocities, with some room in there, but the sales velocity would grow. By the time we got an order on the water, it was already out of date. We needed to order it again. We ran out of stock, and having those air bubbles in Amazon is a big problem.
So the question people are going to ask is, why didn't you just get finance and double or triple your orders and sort of order 6 months of stock and get it into Amazon?
2 reasons. First is around the fact that Amazon storage becomes expensive when we're thinking about long-term storage fees.
Gotcha.
Which again has a massive impact on profit margin. And the second point, which was actually in our case the more immediate issue, was around the way Amazon's stock management works. Your inventory performance index score, or IPI score, means that if you've got a lot of stock sitting in Amazon warehouses and not moving, then what happens is that basically Amazon lowers your IPI score and starts to put restrictions on the amount of stock that you can send into Amazon. So you get this kind of vicious cycle where if you order lots of stock, send it into Amazon, Amazon actually allows you to send less stock in, which means that future orders
you've got to be smaller.
You can't actually send the big amount of stock in. So,
and that must be a real pinch point, especially when you're coming up to things like Q4, where
Yeah.
you're going to be selling a ton.
And the problem is that the IPI score is based on historical, so past 90 days generally. There's longer term facts in there as well, but it means that the orders that you're making in the summer or even earlier that are for Q4, you're getting almost judged by standards where sales velocity is a lot lower. So yeah, Q4 was a nightmare, and the biggest single cost to the business over everything, our best way to increase the profit that we were taking home, so take home profit at the end of the day, was just to be in stock. We actually had it written across the wall at one point of, our biggest mantra was just stay in stock. And yeah, that was the thing that we really
So I know that the IPI scores and the stock profiles are still relatively new on Amazon. A lot of people are going to be struggling with this. So how did you solve that problem? What can you put in place to effectively have more stock in the UK ready to go, but not flood Amazon so that it's impacting your metrics?
Well, absolutely. And basically what we realised was we needed a big space to store this stuff that wasn't Amazon. So obviously a warehouse.
I presume you didn't have your own space.
No, we actually looked into it, but found that it was too expensive, that kind of thing. But also it's the staffing running it. We're experts in designing and building a brand. We're not experts at that point.
So this is basically finding a space to have a ton of stock and then drip feeding it into Amazon on a weekly, monthly basis?
Absolutely, drip feeding it into Amazon on a weekly, monthly basis, and also optimising and testing the amount that we would send in, because we also noticed that there was a direct link between the amount of stock in Amazon and the amount of visibility that we were getting. So in terms of playing around with that to work out if we send X amount in, we can balance the IPI needs with also the volume that's required to actually let Amazon give you that visibility.
Yeah. So this is really interesting. It's like most people would think if I'm using FBA, I don't need a third-party fulfilment house.
Yep.
So you're kind of going about face to what might be perceived logic. And what was the result of all this? What happened with the business?
Well, the result is that we got to the stage where we were comfortable to exit the business because we realised that we weren't leaving all that money on the table. All those periods of, we would have a month at a time where we didn't have any stock in Amazon, the business would go backwards. That would be a direct knock to the 24-month P&L that's required to exit that business. We saw our sales grow by significant step change margins just purely because we had the stock to sell. And yeah, the profit in the business significantly increased.
And I think that brings us nicely to Sitruna, where we are today.
Absolutely.
Because I understand that having exited, with all the lessons learned, you set up the Sitruna as a consultancy business.
Absolutely. Yep.
But you've also set up Sitruna third-party logistics.
Yep.
To help other people drip feed into Amazon. So tell us about what you're doing today.
Well, absolutely. We basically realised, and Sitruna as a group, is based on the fact that we developed all of these skills and all of these things that people need to basically sell on Amazon. Our mission statement is to provide clients and to provide brands with everything they need to sell on Amazon. We realised that the logistics and specifically a joined up approach to logistics was a gap. Partly through talking to a lot of businesses out there, we realised that there were aspects that we thought we could really link into what we're offering in terms of the operational side of Amazon and the on-site stuff alongside the back end and the logistics. So that's what we're doing. We have recently bought more warehouses, more space, and effectively what we're looking to do is to that streamlined process that we built for Beechmore Books, offer that experience to other brands who are facing the same challenges and who are looking to solve them really.
So I do think it's fascinating the fact that you think of Amazon with FBA as being the solution to all of your problems, but actually success on Amazon could actually make FBA a problem.
Yeah.
So if people want to find out more about what we've been talking about, sort of strategies for high growth and building a 7-figure exit on a business on Amazon,
yep.
Or if they want to talk about 3PL in conjunction with FBA to allow them to hold more stock without impacting their Amazon metrics, how do they get hold of you, Chris?
Well, I guess just drop me an email.
Your email address is?
It's chris@sitruna.com.
So nice and easy. We'll put a link beneath the video.
Absolutely. Sitruna, S-I-T-R-U-A-N. No, messed it up.
S-I-T-R-U-N-A.
Correct.
You only got 2 letters right.
Oh, good. That's lack of sleep. Yeah.
So Chris at Sitruna, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chris.